Folks, we have a fragment fusion event going on inside the game, or a shard summon event, however you want to categorize it here. So you can go ahead and obtain shards to get Vixera the mage, who is, in my opinion, a pretty decent champion, even just on paper. So we're going to be going ahead and actually play testing here today on the live servers. No test server, nothing like that. I'm not on the test server yet. What we're going to do first, though, is we're going to go ahead and hop in. And we're going to pull 2 Divine Summons and see if we can't get a Legendary. It's been 9 Divine Summons since I've gotten a Legendary, so it'd be pretty cool if we did. I definitely wouldn't deny getting a Vorn or even just a duplicate Helga so I can empower it, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. We do get 2 pretty good heroes, though. We'll certainly take that. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Vixera here and what makes her so interesting. So first of all, she is an esotericist lord, which is absolutely fantastic, especially if you're like me, and the only other esoterist lord that you have is going to be Raiden. Absolutely hate this guy. I can't even really describe why. He just, like, infuriates me every time I see him as part of one of my teams. Just looking at him is annoying. He has terrible range. He's not that good, right? Like, the reviews on him are pretty high, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. So on paper, having another esotericist lord that everybody can get just by playing the game is absolutely fantastic, right? She also looks badass. She's bringing in some poison team compatibility as well, which is pretty fantastic, so we're going to take a look into that. Of course, so channel memberships are live as well, so if you want to, feel free to go ahead and support the channel. Go ahead and hit that join button down below, as well as the Discord is linked down below as well in the description, so if you want to go ahead and check that out, feel free to hop in there and send some chats. We have a talent, basic attack, 40% chance to inflict poison. Each time the hero inflicts 1 stack of poison on enemies, permanently increases her magic resistance penetration by 1% up to 30%. So in a longer fight, getting 30% magic resistance penetration is just absolutely insane. We have her Lord skill, which is pretty basic. It's the same as Raiden. Increases faction members' basic attributes by 10%. So this is going to be your stuff like attack and speed and all that. Reduces faction team members' skill cost by 15%. So anytime you're running her with another esotericist, it's going to reduce their skill costs by 15%. And if we look at some of the esotericists that we have, there is some insane heroes inside this faction, right? So obviously you have somebody like who's going to benefit from it. Phelan, who I've done a spotlight on. We have Eris, who's fantastic. You also have Numera in here, who's one of the newer heroes as well. Maurik, Anora is a fantastic option. You have Comet, Boreas, some of the best heroes in the game, right, including Elowen. So just getting their skills up and cycling them quicker is always going to be a good thing, so that Lord ability is very, very solid. Basic attack deals 110% damage to one enemy, very basic. We have a passive of Endless Suffering. When receiving direct damage from enemies, there's a 50% chance to inflict poison on the target enemy and deal an extra 180% damage to them, which is pretty crazy. And finally, the Rite of Torment manual ultimate on a 600 cost, which is a very low cost, deals 500% damage 3 times to one enemy, inflicting 2 stacks of poison each time. So essentially, you're getting 6 stacks of poison, which is pretty crazy. Very basic kit when you get down to it, right? She's bringing a lot of poison, seemingly a decent amount of damage, as well as magic resistance penetration, and she's doing all this while also being a lord, which is very solid. Let's go ahead and take a look at the awakenings. A1, basic attack, inflicts acute poisoning on the poison target. So what does this do? Increases all poison and toxic surge damage taken by 40%. This is insane. This is a 1.4 times multiplier on your poisons, right? So if you're starting to bring in especially other poisoners like Numera, which I have and will be testing her with, this is going to help out so much. We have an attack plus 5% A2. A3 reduces damage taken by enemies inflicted with poison by 25%. This is also pretty crazy, right? I believe, and somebody may want to confirm in the comments, but I believe that this only applies to Vixera herself. I don't think this is a team-wide buff, otherwise she's going to be one of the best heroes in the game, certainly at an epic level. Awaken 4, crit rate plus 8%. And Awaken 5 increases the ultimate's damage multiplier by 150%. Now, we are going to be testing her A5 because If you're using her in later game content, you're almost certainly going to have the stones to be able to awaken her, so I think it's a very fair place to test her. Let's go ahead and take a look at the build. Starting with the artifact, we of course are running her in a maxed out Tear of Twilight. So obviously she's going to be in kind of an end game build. I always have to specify this in my videos, but I am 100% free to play. I have not spent a single cent on this game, so anything that you see here on my account is achievable by the average player, and I am living, breathing proof of that, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not running her inside Tear of Twilight, something like Tidal Ring could be decent as well, just for that flat damage increase. Really anything that's just going to increase her DPS output. Nightmare Samsara could be also very strong as well, because you're going to restore a lot of rage, especially considering that she's someone you want built sort of fast because of how she has that chance to place poisons on her basic attack. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. These are the stats. So we do have her a little bit slower than we'd like to see, but we have more rage regen on her to test her ult. 15,805 on the attack, 1.6 attack interval with a total speed of 318, 102 and then 313 on the crit rate and crit damage respectively. And then we also have 41.5 on the rage regen there, which is pretty crazy. So she's definitely going to be cycling decently quick. Of course, we do have the baseline 8% crit rate on her, which makes her a little bit stronger as well from her awakenings. In terms of the gear, I'll just go ahead and click through it here real quick. It's certainly far from min-maxed, right? Like, we have healing effect on an attack bonus Soulbound Arcana piece, so, you know, definitely some stats left on the table there. We have Wicked Vengeance on the left-hand side. Now, in terms of the gear that you're using, right-hand side for sets, you're looking, of course, Infernal Roar, Soulbound Arcana, Ageless Wrath. Something like Cataclysm would also be very solid. Morale could actually be a very good set on her, too, considering that she's not going to be cycling or anything like that, and you're just going to have her on the field. If you have a good Invigoration set, you can put it on her, because realistically, with poison heroes, you're more so focused on just making sure they stay alive, and then the damage comes, right? So, when it comes to Tier 1... and then unranked sets, kind of just throw on whatever you have on her. It doesn't really matter. Now, on the left-hand side, you're looking for, of course, Wicked Vengeance, Warlord, Whirlwind Calamity, or Annihilating Might are going to be the ways to go. Just kind of the regular DPS hero build for Watcher of Realms. And then, of course, you're looking for, like, your crit rate, crit damage substats, attack speed, and attack percentages as well. This is some of the best gear on my account, though. This is regularly my Hex build, so... as you can see, she's definitely not too tanky. She's only got 20,000 HP, so if we run her inside Semra, she's probably going to go ahead and get clapped a little bit there. We're getting some pop-ups here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I can't actually run her inside Semra because I've used both my keys for today, so we're just going to have to settle for Nightmare 4 of the Drake's Chasm. So, we are going to go ahead and run her with Numera, because Numera is obviously bringing in some poisons as well that she could help to manipulate, so... let's go ahead and just slot her in here, though. We're going to use her as the Lord. And then we're going to switch Numera over. Let's see who else we have from the Esotericist faction, right? So, right here, these are some of the heroes that you could be bringing in. So, like an Eloin, right? Absolutely fantastic, and Nora. But we're going to go ahead and do something like this here. Just see what we can make happen. So, we're going to go into the playtest mode. Just so we're not using the runes, of course, people. You got to do what you got to do. I did a showcase on Numera as well, so if you're curious about how she's built or anything like that, feel free to go ahead and check that out. We're going to go ahead and get Vixera placed here with an Eloin just to make sure that she stays healed. We're going to make sure that she gets some of that extra rage regen as well. So you can see we're doing AoE damage times 3, and she's actually doing very decent damage, and now we do have a bunch of poison stacked up on the boss. So very consistently... we're just keeping those 10 poisons stacked up there, right? And then it's absolutely insane, right? So if you bring in Numera, there's going to be more poisons out there, but we have all these poisons stacked up. We also have the increase all poison and toxic surge damage taken by 40%. You can see the poisons aren't falling off. Even when we're not popping her ultimate, she's built fast enough that she's keeping those poisons up very consistently on the boss. They keep getting refreshed because she places another poison. That's something I really like about this game. Is because obviously in a lot of other games when you have poisons there's a chance they can fall off. We're going to go ahead and pop her ultimate here and just see how much damage she does to the shield as well. So actually pretty crazy damage to the shield as well, ladies and gentlemen. That's not bad. That's not bad for an epic champion to do that much damage. Like, we took it from about here, if you can see my mouse, right? Like, over here. You can't really see it. I can't get my finger all the way up there, but whatever. We took it from about here down to here with her ultimate alone, which is insane, right? Granted, she has, like, really good gear, but she's stacking up poisons. You're also not going to have just her, and she doesn't even have invigoration at this point, right? So we're going to go ahead and place Numera. Numera is going to bring us, like, the damage reduction side of it as well. And I'm thinking that these two alone can probably take down the first shield. You'll see that Numera combined with Vixera, we're stacking up 2 different poison sources. So this is what really makes poison teams so strong in today's meta, right? Because we have the poisons coming in from Vixera. We have the poisons now also coming in from Numera. And those poisons are not only stacking, but then we also have the poison surge, which is going to increase the damage taken by 40%, which is just obscene. So we're going to go ahead and save our ultimates here. Just wait until the shield goes off, and then we'll go ahead and do that. We also get the damage reduction, obviously, from the Numera. So I got to give props here to Moonton with this, because they realized that poisons in the game were at, like, a really terrible spot. And they're actually taking active measures to correct that. And we popped the shield no problem with just these 2 heroes. That is pretty crazy, in all honesty. You would be hard-pressed to find any other hero that's capable of doing this. Especially, so my Numera is A2 awakened. On my account, really the only other heroes that could, like, duo it would be, like, A5 Sun Wukong, who could solo it, right? But apart from that, it's hard to get enough DPS to get through the shield with only 2 heroes. So it's absolutely insane that we're able to do it. And then the amount of support that they're all bringing as well. Obviously, Numera can actually detonate those poison stacks as well. So you can see now that we start to pop her ults, she's pulling ahead in terms of damage, because her specialty is just popping those poison stacks. So with Vixera and how low her ultimate cost is, she can really just cycle through this and ensure that we get the poison stacked up on here. Like, look at this. We have now 19 stacks of poison, 20 stacks of poison, which we can just go ahead and detonate with Numera, which is going to spike her damage up astronomically as well, right? All those poisons are just getting... We're just decimating the boss with this. And, you know, the blood count is pretty low, all things considered, right? Like, we're certainly not doing huge damage to him by any means. But realistically, at the end of the day, you're going to have so many other heroes on your team that are also bringing damage. So... you know, you're going to have your Sun Wukongs, your Hexes, your Silases, all those sorts of heroes. And we're already able to take this shield down by like half as well, which is pretty crazy. These 2 combined are pretty wild. Pretty wild. For Vixera, we're going to go ahead and we're going to test her, as I always do, inside the single target arena as well, just to see what she's really capable of there too, being a single target magic DPS unit. So we're going to go into single target. We're going to take out my current team. We're going to filter by the Esotericist. If we could get like an all Esotericist team, that would be perfect. So let's go ahead and bring her in. We're going to bring in Elowen. For a tank, do I actually have anybody that I could use? I do have Ardith, but I don't think he's really built all that well, but he should be good enough probably. We're going to have to delete this again. I hate how it does that. That's something Moonton needs to work on. When you click into a hero on this screen, how it just takes you... Actually, we have Trusk. What am I talking about? There's our tank. He's not really equipped with much gear, though, either. But it is what it is. Apart from that, we won't really bring in anyone. We're just looking to test out the poisons. We will bring in some heroes, though. So we'll just bring in, like, Malric, and we'll bring in Anora. Just to boost up the BP a bit. Just to make it a bit more interesting. As you can see... nobody here is awakened either, so Elowen I don't have any awakenings on, but we do have the A5 on the Vixera, because obviously we're trying to do a showcase in the best possible scenario for her. So I think we're going to wait until we can place Trusk probably right about here. There he is, so we'll place him here. The enemy does kind of get through there a little bit, which is a shame, but you can see he's not doing really any damage to Trusk. So now we can just go ahead and wait. We can just hang out until we get Vixera in here. Now, the one kind of like downside, I think, right now is you can't really see the effects or anything like that that are on mobs, right? So, like this guy, we can't click on him and see how many poison stacks he has or anything like that, which is a bit of a shame. You know, I would like to be able to select the enemy and just see, oh, hey, he has 10 poison stacks on him now. Or, oh, hey, he has 5 poison stacks on him now. I think that would be useful. I think that would be pretty nice. But it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and take him out here. Now, on the next wave, we're going to go ahead and test her burst damage. So, as soon as the enemy comes down here to her, we're going to go ahead and pop her ultimate. Because obviously she's doing, like, the 500 damage 3 times to one enemy. Which is, like, insane levels of burst damage for an epic champion, by the way. So, boom, boom, boom. We actually take him down well over half as well, which is pretty crazy. Like, in terms of epic DPS, it's going to be hard to find somebody that can do better than that, in all honesty. It's going to be very hard. Especially somebody that can stack up the poisons after and continue it. Somebody that can cycle the ult this quick, like with how low cost her ultimate is, right? It was, what, like 600 cost? With the rage regen that we have on her, she's cycling through it so damn quick that she's already got it ready far before the next enemy gets here, which is just crazy. Like, she's cycling so quick, she's doing very decent damage. We didn't get anywhere near the same amount of damage that time, though, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and do that. Not sure what might have happened there, actually. It could just be essentially stat scaling, right? Like, they get tougher the more the waves go on. But we already pretty much have her ultimate available. So, boom, boom, boom. First enemy's taken down. Obviously, if we start throwing in, like, a Nora's and stuff like that in here, it's just going to get, like, ridiculous, and we're going to wipe these guys pretty quick. That being said, though, a Nora's more of, like, an AoE mage. Obviously, you'd really want to bring somebody that's more, like, single target damage oriented. You're probably not going to win too many arena fights with this, but I also still find it crazy how quickly we're able to cycle with Vixera. And obviously, this is kind of like perfect scenario. We have her built with OK rage regen. She's also sitting right next to an Eloin. Like, there's a lot that helps out, but you can see how much damage we're just doing to those mobs, right? Like, it's actually pretty crazy. And if we brought in Maloric and amplified her damage more and all those sorts of good things, we'd probably get more numbers out of her as well. Obviously, I'm not going to upload this, but she's doing the bulk of the damage. Obviously, we really only had her out there for most of it, so, you know, that's kind of exactly what you would expect. But all in all, I'm actually very impressed with this champion, or this hero, and just considering how much she brings to the table, I think I'm going to try and fit her into my Semra 1 team for next week and see if she can start to do a bit more poison damage. It's actually honestly kind of tempting to try and fit her into my Semra 2 team as well, like the APOC 2, just to see if I can use her with Numera, because Numera has replaced my Init inside that composition. So, you know, fantastic stuff there. We're going to go ahead and go through and give her the ratings real quick, as I've started doing, because I think it is useful for people to see, obviously, but I also think it's good to really help balance out in the game. So Immortal Codex, she's going to be absolutely fantastic for the boss that you need to do the continuous damage effects to, so she gets a 5 there. She's getting a 5 in Drake's Chasm. We already seen why. Faction Trial, absolute 5. Having another Lord inside that faction is going to be very strong. Titanic Ruins, absolute 5. Gear Raid 1 is a bit interesting. She can obviously do big numbers, so I think she's a 5, right? Because she can do big damage, that though it is single target, so you're probably not going to be using her because Gear Raid 1, you need AoE. But, right, but here's the thing. She is part of the Esotericists, who are still one of the strongest factions for clearing Gear Raid 1. So I think, in all honesty, she deserves a 5 just for the fact that she is a Lord for one of the strongest factions. She can make everybody's skills cheaper. She can make everybody stronger. That is huge. Void Rift, also a 5. She can go through and help you progress. Single target arena. You're not going to be using her at the top of, you know, Platinum. You're not going to be using her inside Overlord, obviously, but she can be very competent for the lower levels. Guild Wars, I think she's actually still going to be a 4. Inflicting the poisons and the magic damage with her quick cycling is going to be very good. Gear Raid 2, I think she can be okay. Her cycling in your main DPS spot and just bursting down some of the mobs. As she goes on, though, or as you go on through the stages, I think you're going to get power crept a little bit, and you're really going to want some of the better DPS units like Kratos or something like that, right? But, you know, Artifact Material Raid, I think she's a 5. She could easily be your platform damage unit. Gold Raid, probably a 4. Nothing too crazy. XP Raid, also a 4. Tide, I think she's going to be a 3. You're just looking for people with higher BP. Gear Dungeon 1, not really where we're looking to use her. Same thing with Gear Dungeon 2. Anti-air DPS, I'm going to give her a 2. Gear Raid 3, she's going to be a 1. I don't know how she has a 3.3, but Gear Raid 3, she's a magic damage dealer, which is the worst type of damage for Gear Raid 3. and she doesn't have range that can be extended or anything like that. AoE DPS also going to be a 1. Not really her area of expertise, right? So I definitely think she deserves some higher ratings in some areas, though. Like, she is a very, 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 very strong hero on her own, with her damage, with buffing the continuous damage, and then you bring in the fact that she's a lord for one of the strongest factions in the game. That is a lot, ladies and gentlemen. But that being said, I hope this guide and this breakdown was helpful. Let me know if you use her, where you use her, what sort of stats you run her with, and how you like her. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.